Donna Mallory. I'm an associate professor of English here. I'm also the new director of Strengthening Foreign Language and International Programs, the former Foreign Language Institute. And this is our first international issues panel, and the topic is immigration, a very important issue today. And Professor Elvira Watson is going to, and we have our esteemed panel, which she is about to introduce. And thank you for coming here.
Okay, everybody can hear me? Good. Okay, so welcome all to our first international panel discussion. And our topic tonight is immigration. My name is Leticia Elvira Watson, and I'm an assistant professor and coordinator of the Spanish program here at Albany State University since 2007. On a very brief note about myself, I am from Puerto Rico. I was born in New York, which makes me a New Yorican. Those are people that were either born or raised in New York and from Puerto Rico. I have a BA in philosophy and creative writing from the University of Puerto Rico and obtained my master's degree in Spanish from Western Michigan University. I'm currently a doctoral candidate from North Central University working on my dissertation on higher education. My very first full-time job in the United States after moving back from as an adult was as director of a migrant program for Branch County Community Schools in Michigan. There, I developed an ESL program and taught citizenship courses. During the 5 years I directed the program, I learned a lot about the migrants as human beings. In our conversational activities, they spoke about their life's experiences, the reasons they have for leaving their native countries and coming to the United States. I learned that the motivation for leaving are varied as the immigrants themselves who come from all parts of the world, not just from Mexico. One of the reasons that impressed me the most was the reply from one of my students, a doctor, a physician from San Salvador, who told us that the reason he came during the seasons of flowering and tomatoes, to pick all that, was just to make money to buy medicine and equipment for his practice. Others came here running away from poverty to support their families, others to escape an oppressive regime that threatened their lives, their rights or religions, and others as refugees were forced to leave their countries. Investigating the causes of immigration, I believe, is an important step for understanding immigration and their struggles in this country. Well, tonight, furthermore, we have our panel members, which I like to introduce now. At the end of our discussion, like Dr. Mallory said, we'll open the floor for questions and answers. First, I'd like to introduce Dr. Kwame Dankwa. Dr. Dankwa is an associate professor of political science and coordinator of the political science program here at Albany State University. Dr. Dankwa has been at Albany State University since January 2001. Originally from Ghana, Dr. Dankwa obtained his master's degree in public administration and PA from Clark Atlanta University in 1990, and his PhD in political science from Clark Atlanta University in 1999. As keen believer in international education, Dr. Dankwa founded Albany State University's first Model United Nations Club and prepared students to 3 consecutive sessions of the National Model United Nations Conference in New York in 2003, 2004, and 2005. He has since 2011 been working with the ASU Office of Global Programs in preparing students for the annual Southeastern Model African Union. Conferences under the auspice of the University System of Georgia International Education Initiatives. Dr. Dankwa has made several academic presentations at conferences over the years as a member of the American Society of Public Administration and the National Conference of Black Political Scientists. Dr. Dankwa's publication include a chapter on United States Congress in an American Government Textbook, 2010, and a paper co-written with Dr. Timothy Sweet Hope in the latest edition of the Current Urban Studies Journal on September 2015, titled The Effects of Race and Space on City-County Consolidations, the Albany-Doherty, Georgia Experience. Our next panel member is Dr. Sao, is a former journalist in China, at the very last, who admires higher education in the U.S. In 2002, he came to this country as a graduate student studying journalism and mass communication. He obtained a master's degree from the University of Texas, Austin, and a PhD from the University of Georgia before becoming faculty member at Albany State University, where he is known as an avid supporter of international education and study abroad programs. Having lived in the United States for over 12 years, Professor Sao became an American citizen in the spring of 2015. Welcome. Last but not least, I'd like to introduce a member of the ASU Police Department, Sergeant Santos Ruiz Gonzalez. Sergeant Santos Ruiz Gonzalez was born in Puerto Rico and soon after moved to New York, where he lived until he joined the United States Army. During his time in the Army, he served in Operation Desert Storm, Desert Shield, and was also a highly decorated soldier. He has lived in many places, both in the United States, both in and outside the United States. He served for 20 years before deciding to get out of the Army. Sergeant Ruiz Gonzalez worked for the Doherty County Sheriff Department for 18 years. He was active in many community events and programs such as the CHAMPS program. He has worked in many areas of the department, some positions to include correction and warrant civil division. He has served as a mentor and trainer to many of his peers. He is a translator for the department and has assisted others agencies with translation issues while on patrol in the Albany area and in his courtroom, both federal and state, as well in the Doherty County jails in processing intake areas. Sergeant Ruiz Gonzalez has been married 33 years, has 3 children and 2 grandchildren. His family is his pride and joy and is the reason he has accomplished many things throughout the years. Let's give him a warm applause. Welcome, panelists. Okay, so let's begin. As an introduction, after introducing our wonderful panelists today, we're going to be talking about immigration and, of course, the latest, right? The latest issues. This is such a loud topic nowadays in the news, right? So today, as an information to you, there are 11 to 12 million undocumented immigrants in the United States. Based on those numbers, I would like our panelists to begin by discussing your opinions on the following. They talked about deporting 11 to 12 million immigrants undocumented in the White House. Do you believe it is possible, and how would this affect the economy of our country? And I open to anybody that wants to start.
Anybody? Hello, good evening. And before we get to answer her question, I'd like to, first of all, ask ourselves some questions about globalization, human population, and the causes of immigration. Sure, she has very challenging questions when it comes to those. But how many are we on Earth? Who can tell me? How many human beings are living on this Earth?
A lot.
A lot, I know. That's a lot. 7 billion. So we hit the 7 billion mark in October of 2012. Human beings are now 7 billion. Now, where do they live? It's interesting to know that 2 countries have 1/3 of global population. Which are these 2 countries?
One is my country.
China.
Well, my former country.
China with 1.3 billion and India with 1.2 billion. So together, the 2 have 2.something, 2.6 billion, which is 1/3 of all the 7 billion. And which is the 3rd largest, the 3rd most populous country on earth? USA. And how many are we? Okay, again, China 1.3 billion, India 1.2 billion, United States 310 million. So a distant 3rd, very distant 3rd. So that's how many people are on earth. Again, my second question, what is immigration? Immigration is defined as if you move from your original country and you seek to live in another country, you are an immigrant. Right. That act of moving is the immigration. Yeah. And how widespread is immigration? How serious a problem is it? If you've been watching the news lately, it's not the greatest section of the world or earth having immigrants. It's not United States. You can tell me where people are moving in droves. In fact, for the past 9 months, 464,000 people have moved to Europe, crossing a narrow path, a sea, to Europe, starting from Greece into the southern European states and trying to get to Germany. That's their paradise. If I can get to Germany, all my problems will be solved. But how to navigate through Turkey, through Greece, through Bulgaria, to Germany? What's going on? Why are 464,000 people going to Europe? And where are they coming from? Moving from where to where? These people are from North Africa, Tunisia, Libya, and Egypt. And also in Arab countries like Syria, especially Syria. They're also joined by thousands migrating from Afghanistan, Eritrea, Sudan. Okay? And why are they moving? Why are they leaving their homelands and seeking greener pastures in Europe? So what are the causes of immigration? That's my next question. What causes human beings to move out of their country, their confines, and venture forth to somewhere they don't know? You can tell me one of the reasons for immigration.
Something more than what they currently have.
Good. We call them economic migrants. If you just want to better your life, looking for green pastures, you call you an economic migrant. But they are not the only, that's not the only cause. Some people must leave or die. Refugees, that's what we call them. They are fleeing poverty. They are fleeing oppression. Some of them are fleeing wars, civil wars, natural disasters. Things that they have no control over. Things they cannot stop, which continues to bother them. So they think the only way out is to go, to leave. And the sight was very heart-rendering. If you've been watching the news lately, as one politician said, anybody who is not touched by what they see, needs what? An empathy implant. We got to plant some empathy seed in you. It's sad. And according to as we are speaking, 1 billion, 1/7 of the world people are in transit, moving now, as we are speaking. 241 million people live at place other than where they were born. 241 people live in place other than where they were born. So people are moving. It's an ongoing traffic. Economists call the push and pull factors. Something is pushing you, and some countries are pulling you. The push factors are what I have called natural disasters, arbitrary rule, wars, dictatorship. That is pushing you out. But then where do you go depends on which country gives you better offer, attraction. So they say United States is glittering. Germany has a very good human rights record, at least lately. And if only I can get to Germany, all my problems will be solved. So the push and pull factors are the reason why people pick and choose where to go. Right, we will come back, so I'll hand over the mic to my other speakers, and we will always come back, because this is a broad topic, and we're going to be here for a while.
He hit it on the head. I spent about 2 hours speaking with the immigration office over here in Albany, with the officers in there, and I needed to ask a whole lot of questions to be prepared for your questions. And as far as law enforcement is concerned, what I was gathering is more of what's coming up from South America, Puerto Rico, into the United States. And they're coming for what they believe is a dream, believe it or not. Some for to get away from the war, drug cartels, to make a better life for themselves, plain and simple. What's happening is that they're bumping into culture clash. They have to learn to adapt to the way Americans live here, so they can function as regular citizens, and of course become citizens. But in the mix, we have the ones who are coming to our country for different reasons, and mostly it's criminal. Okay, and in speaking to them, they are constantly making rounds, in the jail area, prison area, and causing people getting deported back to their country. And they hear many stories of why they come over here, and one of them is, the young ones, it's education. The older people that come through, they just want a life. They want to get away from the depression and all that from their countries. And how many of y'all here know what ICE stands for? Stand up, hold up. Yeah, I'll get you first. Tell me what ICE stands for. Yes. And then you can go. Anybody? Say it again. You're half right. It's U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. You can go now. Mind you, the Latino population is growing here. You don't see them, but they're here. I speak to a lot of them when I do translating in the court, and I bump into an elder. An elder is a person that once they come to this country, they come meet this guy, and he basically places them in certain areas, states, and then also they give them jobs. But part of the deal is they got paid their life savings to that person until the debt is done. But most of them want to, come to be a citizen and be able to provide, just like everybody else, to help the community and the economy. But of course, there's brick walls, and again, they don't like to be called Hispanics. This is what I was told by the elder. Basically, it's a slave name. We like to be called Latinos. So if you ever bump into one of those situations, they look at you kind of it's because, they understand it's just a title with a bunch of numbers that goes under for Hispanics. This was told to me by an elder who we arrested and had deported. But they're here to want to, better themselves for their children, and and be part of the United States?
Just try to share my 2 cents very quickly, a very short answer to Professor Watson's question. I think it's infeasible. So to your first question, the deportation is not the solution, in my opinion. The number you shared was 11 million people. We're talking about 11 million people. Logistically, not feasible. Humanly, not feasible either. Of course, what I mean, the human toll, the method of deportation would put on all those families, immigration families, and these are people. And this is related to the second question, the impact on our economy. From what I know, the vast majority of immigrants in this country, documented or undocumented, they are very hardworking peoples. And we can argue that maybe if some of the undocumented workers are even hardworking, but I mean, to some extent we can say that it's because they are exploited by not very kind employers just because they are undocumented. But I think we have to remember they are human beings, and if they are provided the right condition, they will still be hardworking and more happily and become more productive. And I guess that's my general philosophy on this issue. And our economy, the economy of the United States, I think is de facto inseparable from the contribution of immigrants. So to deport this large number of immigrants back to their home country or to whatever, outside of our border, is going to have a great negative impact on the U.S. economy.
That brings me to my next question. It was that one of the major issues commonly addressed today in the news and everywhere is the fact that undocumented immigrants play a critical role in many of the American industries. Okay? So some critics argue that they are taking away jobs from the American-born workers and that they are forced to leave. And if they are forced to leave, let me correct my statement, this will rise the wages automatically and attract Americans back to these jobs. Do you believe this argument is true, and do you agree with it?
I think intuitively there may be some truth of it, but we are where we are. I don't think it's. I think it's a purist or idealist argument to make. I'm referring to the argument that you just provided. I know it's not yours, but we are where we are. We live in a world that is not 100% under our control, because the world economy is developed so unequally between different countries. And for that reasons, immigration is going to happen, and it's not going to be stopped by the kind of ways that those people suggested. So from that understanding, I don't think that it's going to work just to force people to go, and they will come back.
So you don't think that would open jobs for the American people to have more jobs and work here?
Well, if they can have their way to force people to go and never come back, that's a hypothetical question. I have no way of knowing whether they will be proven right or not. But my take is that that's not going to happen. It's the economic factor is so huge, and along with other factors that caused immigration to happen in the first place. So we have to recognize that fact.
Thank you, Dr. Sal. Next, anybody else?
Sure. It is a fact that immigrants every now and then are seen as taking vital jobs away from Americans. That could be true in some parts of the country. But overall, the big picture, if you look at the big picture, America needs immigrants. Yes, ask your economic professor, ask your president, or ask your congressman. America does what? It needs immigrants. Why do I say that? It may fly to the face of common sense that here's a country of 5. Okay, let's say. When Obama took over, America had over 12% unemployment rate. So now it's down to about 5.3. Good job. But we still need immigrants. Why do I say that? A country with 5.5% unemployment can't find job for all its citizens, still need immigrants. You must be crazy. No, I'm not. Look at the facts. We call some era in American history baby boom era. Soon after World War II, 1946 to 1964, 46, 64, just turn it around. Don't forget, Americans produced children at an unprecedented rate. That's the time America's population boomed, surged, literally. Okay, that is your grandfathers and your grandmothers, the baby boomers. Unfortunately, they were succeeded by the baby bust era. Your mothers will not give birth to 3 or 4, no, just 1 or 2. Now they say the size of American family is a mother, a father, a baby, and a dog. So American family is just about 4 now. So you do the math. The baby boomers who were born 55, 60 years ago are now all going to retire. In 2025, baby boomers are all going to retire. And the baby bust era is not producing enough labor to fill their places. Politicians are warning that Social Security is going to go belly up if we don't do something drastic and now do it. I mean, do the math. Simple mathematics tells us that more people are leaving the system than people coming in. So how do we feel? How do we pay enough money for Social Security recipients? How are you sure you are going to get Social Security when your time comes up? Because more people are leaving the workforce. This is what Congress of the United States saw so many years ago and decided to figure out how to bring in some desirable immigrants to come and stay and work here to contribute to the Social Security system. Did you know that every year 50,000 immigrants are allowed in the United States? We call that immigrant visa lottery. A lotto is just allowed, I mean, everybody's allowed to play in each country. And then if you win the lottery, you go to American embassy in your country for an interview. You got to meet some requirements. High school diploma with a credit in English and math. Your age should not be over 35 because they need a new workforce to come and replace America's baby booming era. 50,000 people are allowed visa every year to America. It's been going on since 1990. So if you calculate from 1990 or 25 years ago, 50,000 decent, desirable immigrants are allowed to come in here, then that begs the question, does America need immigrants? The answer is yes.
Okay. Sergeant Luis Gonzalez, again repeating, some critics argue that they are taking away jobs from American workers and that if they're forced to leave, wages would automatically rise and Americans would be attracted to these jobs once again. What is your opinion on that?
Well, our politicians are definitely going to have to a big job in their hand when it comes to this immigration law, because if they don't get it right, you know, it's going to be a mess, and it's going to be to a point where it's going to be one certain workload of workers doing this much work, and where the other ones are going to come in and work for less. And if you don't have the rules and laws in place, it's going to be a train wreck. And I don't know if it's going to work. We just got to have some strong backbone politicians to help us out. Because if not, we're going to be in a mess.
Dr. Sal, you want to relate on that?
Yes. I think the wages, the argument that the wages were pulled down by a lot of immigrants, at least part of the reason, and a very important part of the reason, is that they stay undocumented, and they are exploited, and they were provided a very low wage, and they hope that they keep doing this low wage work for some years. They will have their chance to become citizens, and people always have their hope. And hope is a very powerful thing. However, I think if we have a sound policy to document all of them, to bring them out to the sunlight, and wages should go up. And then at that point, the immigrants and Native Americans will compete on the level ground. It's not that, well, yes, if you just consider the factor that there are more labor available, maybe that will still bring the wage down a little bit compared to if we have a shortage of labor. But I think it's a good thing to have adequate labor force, just like Professor Danko has just said. U.S. economy, the growth of our economy needs immigrants because by natural production, this country is not producing enough labor force for the growth of the economy.
Thank you, Dr. Sao. Anybody else like to? Okay. Okay, so this brings me to my next question. There's a controversial issues out there today, this week, on the issues of immigration, on the runners, the presidential runners who are making different promises on immigration reform. And this brings me to my next question, which touches a controversial issue. And we're in the news of this week, one of the front runners, don't need to maybe mention his name, or maybe I do. Well, the presidential runner, which is Donald Trump, also used the term, which is for many offensive nowadays, about the anchor babies. And the anchor babies, the way he mentioned that was for babies that were born from undocumented immigrants with the hope that they would gain their own citizenship. Because you know that the 14th Amendment in the United States Constitution is that all babies that are born here in the U.S. soil are automatically given citizenship. Now, would you say that Donald Trump's immigration reform, if you heard of it, did you hear of it? Anyways, I can say what his plan is. He is planning to end the birthright citizenship. What is your opinion on that? Do I need to expand or?
Well, that's Donald Trump.
That's what Rubio said. That's Donald being Donald.
Yes.
But he's one of the headers, right, running for president.
Yeah, but certainly we know that his proposal, I guess, has finds a lot of echoes in a lot of people in this country. That is I don't know, the anchor baby thing.
Which many, they think that's derogative for many.
Right.
The anchor baby means, having a baby just for the purpose of gaining their citizenship.
He ain't got it.
Is that what?
You hear me?
Yeah.
I don't think he's got it right. He needs more research. So I don't get myself in a situation. It's just that when you're running for office like that, you have to do your homework. And I don't believe he's done his homework, plain and simple. And to blow people out of the water, and you ain't got a clue what kind of lifestyle they come from, what's happening. I mean, coming from a war-torn place, he don't have a clue. So I'm gonna leave it like that.
All right. Okay, first of all, the question, the legal question is immigration a universal human right? the fact that things are not okay in your country, does it make another country obligatory to receive you? Does America have a problem if your country is failing? Do you have to invade America? So let's look at it from a legal perspective. And Donald Trump is not the only politician to feed into this angst or anger. Several European politicians are extreme right-wing who use anti-immigration platform to win votes. So is immigration legal? Is it a fundamental human right? That's debatable. First, it was in 1948 when the United Nations signed the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The United Nations is a club of all independent countries. The last time I checked, membership is 193. Every independent country is automatically a member of the UN. So what they write, their laws apply to all mankind. So United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights have 30 articles. And I'm reading Article 13 says, there's a right to free movement in and out of every country. Every human being has the right to move in and out of his or her country. 14, every human being has the right to asylum in other countries from persecution. Asylum, to seek a shelter. Every human being has the right to seek asylum from another country. And number 15, every human being has the right to a nationality and the freedom to change it. So if I was born a Ghanaian and I travel to America and I think America gives me more hopes for my grandchildren, I could become American. So these are the three things that will make us think that maybe immigration is a universal human right. But not so fast. Because before the 1948 Universal Declaration of Human Rights, there was the Treaty of Westphalia, 1648 Westphalia Treaty. That's the system which binds all countries together now. International relations, the laws governing nations are rooted in the peace treaty called Westphalia Treaty of 1648. And what does it say? Sovereignty. Each country has the right to live within its own territory and be the highest form of authority within its territory. We call that sovereignty. You can't come to my country illegally. I have the right to repel you by any means necessary. 2, territorial integrity. Yeah, these are my borders. And before you enter, you need my permission. Otherwise, I see you as an enemy and I can get rid of you by any means necessary. Though I don't take authority from anybody, my borders are sacrosanct. They are for me and my people only. You can't mess with my borders. And 3, you should not interfere with the internal affairs of any country. So if you juxtapose the 1648 Westphalia Treaty with the 1948 Declaration of Human Rights, it becomes problematic that nation states have the authority, have the right to repel anybody who is coming to their borders. And that's the sentiment that Donald Trump is tapping into.
Don't have a clue.
His method may be crude. You think he doesn't have a clue, but he's on solid international law.
Yeah, earlier this week, when the Reformation, you want to say, Dr. Sal, you want to tap into that? No? Okay, so earlier this week, when the Republican presidential candidate, Donald Trump, outlined the plan for immigration, it came in from he put it out in the 6-page document of his website, his campaign website, and included that this plan not only ended the birthright citizenship, but also that he would deport all the immigrants out of the United States, okay, to then let the good ones in. I mean, a little bit like you were talking, Dr. Dwanka, about the ignorance, ignorance, I would say, I dare to say that he, and like Dr. Ruiz Gonzalez says, you know, he has not done his homework. So what is your opinion on that one? That he says he's going to deport all these people and then he's going to allow back the ones that are good. As part of his reform plan.
Right now, he is playing politics, admittedly. I can say that Donald Trump is, like I say, he's tapping into an anger. Okay? Americans feel angry about immigrants taking our jobs, right or wrong. The figures don't support that, but many people believe that immigrants are the reason why Americans don't have jobs. And that is why he's tapping into. It's a race, so he wants to win. He has probably done his polls and know that more people support getting them out. But I bet you, if he becomes the president, he cannot implement these things. He cannot build a long wall around America and ask Mexico to pay for that wall. No, those are impracticable, but he's using that just to gain popularity. We are talking about it because he brought it to the fore. So he's, having said everything I said, I'm saying again that Donald Trump is a politician tapping into, the feelings of many Americans.
There's no take on this.
I'm not going to answer that one. Well, for one, in speaking with a lot of my family and friends from outside the country, the fact that he insulted the immigrants, it just doesn't. It has to be a specific group. It's just you have to look into the way Americans live. Why people want to come here and be a citizen. Okay, but he definitely has to back up and regroup and make better choices in his words.
Dr. Sal?
You sure?
Well, again, Donald Trump has been Donald Trump, and I think Donald Trump is not just. Thank you. Donald Trump is not just a businessman. I mean, he is very successful. He's very. Yeah, certainly he's a very successful businessman, but he's also a celebrity. And so he's not the same kind of business people like, what's the name of the female candidate, remind me?
Carly Fiorina.
Yeah, Carly Fiorina, yes. And I think she's more serious on a lot of issues. And Donald Trump, I think he just enjoyed being the center of the attention, enjoying creating controversies. I seriously don't think that his comment, no matter how popular it may sound, deserves serious rebuttal. It's not going to happen.
So it's a little scary that he's running, he's number one runner.
For now, yeah, but he's not going to win the general election. If America is still serious enough, right now he's trying to gain the popularity among, I guess, a group that is a little bit extreme, and that's where he is now. I wonder. I'm curious in watching how whether he would change his position if he managed to win the Republican primary. I guess a political science professor may.
Yeah, right now, all Donald Trump is doing is to pander to Republicans. I mean, primaries are just designed for the party's faithfuls. And so he's going extreme right to appeal to Republicans. Once he gets the nomination, assuming he gets nominated, he has to make 180 degrees or 360 degrees to come to the center, to be a centrist to win the election. There's no way, I agree with Dr. Sal, that he can win the presidency with this extreme rhetoric. It's working for him now. It keeps him ahead of all Republicans. But when he wins the nomination, he has to appeal to the whole Americans. So he has to change or pivot to the center, and that's where he's going to be caught up by his own contradictions, and he's going to find it problematic. So essentially, we all are saying the same thing.
Okay, I have last question before we go into the questions and answers from the public. It's that I would like each of our panelists to have, what are your ideas on solving the issues of immigration in the United States? And do you believe that there should be some sort of amnesty to legalize the 11, 12 million immigrants in the United States?
Okay, first of all, I believe it's not possible to deport all the 11 million immigrants. It's just humanly impossible. And they are hard-working people. Don't let us be sucked into the mindset that immigrants are the reason why America's economy is not doing too well. Immigrants are the reason why crime rates are high. No. No. Hell no. I have been an immigrant in this country for some time now, 25 years and counting. Never been to the court. Never. Never been arraigned before court. Never, apart from traffic. Sometimes you will speed and they give you a ticket. But I don't wait for it to become a felony. I pay my fine. So when it was time for me to get my green card, they took my thumbprint, ran it against all the crime bases in America, and my thumbprint was not recorded in any of the crime sheets. And so I was given my green card. I mean, you come in here with the mindset of getting money to feed your family or to make your life better, and crime is your number one priority? No. Immigrants are not criminals, and they are very hardworking. The 11 million immigrants, illegal immigrants, are quietly, silently working hard, siphoning money back home, underground. Because they can't open bank accounts, they collect money under the table, and then they sleep on the money. And when they accumulate a lot, they take it home. And that's hurting the American economy. Most of them are not taxed. They are not taxed. Their money is not stored in the bank when the banks can get interest on it. You don't pay anything. So it is about time for America to make it possible for them to step up and be counted. The monies that they earn should be taxed. Let them open accounts, and let the system also benefit from them. So I believe America should find a way to make it possible for the 11 million illegals to come forward. If they have committed offenses, prosecute them. But for heaven's sake, the overwhelming majority are good people, good men and women. Let them come forward, pay fines for living here illegally for all those doggone years. And they will pay money. They are prepared to pay the fines for coming here illegally in the first place. And then from now on, they become contributors in building this great nation of ours.
Thank you.
That's definitely going to cost a lot of money, and that money is going to come from the taxpayers. And I don't think they're going to want to go that particular route, because you try to round everyone up and deport them. It's going to be a financially type of a situation that will explode, because the whole United States is full of immigrants. That's all I have to say on that one.
Well, that is a, I don't know, billion-dollar question, I guess, we're talking about. But it's not a mature proposal by any means. But I tend to think that if the United States has a more has even friendlier, it's already friendly, I have to acknowledge that, a friendlier immigration policy, and allow people who come here to be documented, to be taxed, and I agree with that, absolutely. And basically, I think the system should be reformed to allow the United States to attract and obtain and retain immigrants with greater talent, rather than immigrants who basically have little or no choice, no options in their home country. And if we can achieve that, it will be better for the United States.
Thank you.
And I don't know exactly how, but something can be done.
I agree. I agree. Okay, let's open it to questions and answers. If anybody has questions for our panelists, me?
Oh, come on, somebody's gotta have a question. Come on, don't be shy.
Japanese
No
American.
questions?
No, give them time to think about it. They want to formulate their questions.
Well, we can ask you what are some more of your, some final thoughts you have on immigration.
Yes. Let's hear more of your ideas on immigration and what's happening today with that situation, especially because we're talking about mainly about immigrants, mostly Latinos, right? Those are the ones that there are the most concerned about, talked about in this country, that supposedly are affecting the United States and taking the sleep away from the White House. What are we going to do with so many immigrants, so many illegal immigrants? Any more thoughts about that from our panelists, please?
I guess when people talk about illegal or undocumented, whichever words you choose to use, immigrants, are we primarily talking about immigrants from
Undocumented
Latin America, from that part of the world?
Well, so far,
So-
what's going on in the news right now is about the immigrants working here, the undocumented immigrants. Okay, like they're from all over the world.
All over the world.
There's a majority of.
But the rhetoric,
Latinos.
yeah, but the rhetoric is primarily against, I guess, people from a particular part of the world. Is that true?
Mhm.
But certainly there are a lot of undocumented immigrants from China as well.
Mhm.
And
Seems like the target is.
target is mainly on
Mexicans and Latinos from.
because of the greater number.
Yeah, yes, because there are about 11 million of them here.
And so-
Actually, there's a majority of Hispanics in the United States.
Mhm. We're talking about
There are over
the.
10 million Hispanics living here.
We were talking about the economic factor, and we understand that most of those immigrants from Mexico and other Latin American countries are what we consider economic economic immigrants, right? And I remember a few years ago, there was a little bit of a temporary reverse of the trend. At least it's reported in the news that a lot of Mexican immigrants returned to their country, not because the United States immigration policy or enforcement of the border is getting better, but because there was much fewer economic opportunities, job opportunities in the States when we had the economic crisis in this country. So I think if we are going to find a solution that will work, we have to think in that line. Of course, not that we're trying to make our economy worse, so they will go away, they will go home. But I think if we can find a solution to help other countries grow as well, along with the United States economy, some sort of agreement that will promote the world economy, not just in one country, few countries, but in a very large part of the world, then I think that we are doing that. We are, I guess, addressing the root cause of immigration.
Okay. Again, let's be reminded that this whole immigration thing is very thoroughly researched. We don't rely on innuendos or hearsays. There are some groups that are affected by the outcome of immigration reforms, so they are working day in, day out to feed Congress with the right figures to make them come to the right conclusions. True, there was a time when Mexicans were the largest immigrant group coming to the United States. No more. Now the largest group is coming from East and South Asia, Indians and Chinese. Now they come with different set of skills. They are much more competitive and more able to attract better paying jobs in America. So if you hear the Americans are going back, it could be true because they are not a match. Those who came in here a decade ago or 2 decades ago find out they don't have the right skill sets to compete in today's globalized economy. But those coming in from Asia and China and in Africa, Nigeria, Ghana, Ethiopia, they come with high schools and they are very good and can fit. And again, as President Obama said, America offers education to these immigrants who come in here, but don't offer them jobs. So they go away with the skills that they acquired. And listen to this. Every year, 20,000 US educated students leave every year to their home country. That's 20,000 trained scientists, doctors, engineers, computer experts, who could fit in the American economy, but unfortunately we allowed them to go. Those are the people politicians want to retain, all right? Again, let's read some numbers. Of immigrant population in the United States, it hit a record 41.3 million in July of 2013, people coming in. And where do they come from? The sending regions with the largest increases were South Asia, up to 373,000, that's 16%. East Asia, 5% of 365,000. The Caribbean, up to 233,000. The Middle East, Sub-Saharan Africa. So those countries are all increasing their immigrant population, and they come with skill sets that make them fit in the American economy, making others redundant and therefore likely to go back home.
Can you hear now? I'm not going to argue with this man here. He's got some good numbers, but
Scientists, that's what I do.
because we do have Latino immigrants coming up here with set of skills. They do come up here. We have teachers, we have doctors, we got construction workers. They do come up here and try their best. All right. I'm here to tell you, I went visit two sites where they get deported at. One is in Louisiana, one is in Florida. And the way they have them is like they got them in cages. They get individually get seen, and then they get sent to their destination bus, which goes to the airport and send them on their way. And I got a chance to speak to a lot of them, and a lot of them were doctors, teachers, construction workers, people with skills, even welders, and they were just said that they were trying to do get a better life. It's just I wish that people can come down and see that, politicians come down and see that instead of sitting up there, and talk about numbers. Come down there and see what you guys are actually doing when you get ready to write these laws that affect people and lives and children. They get sent on their way. So it's not just one set of group, it's everybody. Okay, and I wish I could give you a solution, but this is going to be a topic that's going to never go away. I can tell you that right now.
Another point of that, when I was a director of the migrant program in Michigan, I found many of them that were not only workers, farmer workers, that just came here to earn a buck to take back to their families. Some of them were refugees that were flying away from the violence in their country. And a lot of them, not a lot of them, okay, I can say that the Mexican, they were from Bolivia, Salvador, all over Latin America. And I at least found in my group of 119 students in my migrant program that 1 year, I found about 7 of them that were between doctors, teachers. I mean, they were educated people that were forced to come to get a buck down here and try to find the American dream. Any questions? Yes.
So, talking about Donald Trump, in your opinion, for the panel, which presidential candidate do you think has the most realistic solution for immigration?
Good question. Thank you.
Remember, President Obama has an immigration plan. That one passed in the U.S. Senate. Overwhelming majority, bipartisan, 70 to 30, 20 something. A lot of Republicans and Democrats saw some wisdom in what Obama was suggesting, that let's be realistic. We can't deport them all. So let them come forward and join the line. First come, first serve. We will prosecute anybody who has committed crime. How do we get them? Fingerprints. If it was 20 years ago, we will catch them, and such people should be denied any pardon. But those who have lived here over the years, worked hard, and have no crime record, for heaven's sake, let them be given a green card first. Not citizenship right away. Green card, that puts them on trial. We monitor them, we admit them, we give them jobs, and if after 5 good years they don't commit crime, then what prevents them from becoming American citizens? So this is the pathway that Barack Obama has put forth, which half Congress has approved. The Senate has approved. The problem is with the House of Representatives. That's where the radicals are, the so-called Freedom Caucus, the birthers, you know. They don't want to hear nothing. They think it's a form of amnesty. Anything that will give them green card now and citizenship later is rewarding punishment, rewarding bad behavior. So if anybody sees that, so then let me go in, because after a long while, Americans will give me the green card and citizenship. So some conservatives believe giving them that opportunity will be rewarding bad behavior. So let's get them all out, and if they can come in here legally, then we can deal with them. So those are the two contending issues. Hillary Clinton is for Obama's solution. And even Marco Rubio, who said he was for it, but then because he was going to run for election, he cowered. Jeb Bush also saw some wisdom in what Obama proposed. But lately, you know, he's wishy-washy. We don't know where he stands. So, not that America doesn't have a solution to it. The solution has been offered, and Senate has agreed. We want the second chamber, the House. If they should pass it, then the president will gladly sign. So any combination which will separate the bad guys from the good guys, fine them for bad behavior, heavy penalty. Let them pay about $5,000. If each of the 11 million people is paying $5,000, you know how much money that is? That's a lot of money, billions of dollars. That can pay for their citizenship or their regularization. And they are prepared, willing to pay. So that's the pathway forward.
I totally agree with Professor Danquah's observation, and I mean those policies is I think Obama's immigration policies is certainly worth trying. I don't know where really the candidates stand, to be honest.
I agree with him. Don't get me wrong, because and then my family, they're very, very into politics. I am, but I'm not. Okay, but Obama seems to be the one out there, one that's looking at. The other ones are either trying to go forward and they back out. I wish this person could have another term, but that's not going to happen.
Any other questions? Okay. Yes.
With the recent hurricane that happened in Mexico, I think it's Hurricane Patricia. Yes. Do you believe that maybe it's displaced a lot of Mexicans or Latin Americans towards, you know, other countries? Not saying America in general, but the make them move, displace a lot of Mexicans from their home country to America, Honduras.
Do you mean if the Patricia hurricane made some of the Mexicans move out of Mexico? Is that your question?
Probably maybe temporarily
Right.
to America.
What would happen with that is that they would turn to the government for assistance, where they're gonna have to move from that danger area into a centralized area because you're gonna start losing life. And they would have to turn to the government.
And the United States government, ever so merciful, ever so gracious, the Coast Guards are always on the lookout for people who are facing imminent death. They will be evacuated by the Coast Guard, brought to America, rehabilitated, treated nicely, as long as they need assistance. No, America is not at war with its neighbors as such. All the rhetoric aside, if you make it down to America, look at the courtesy that they treat you with. With children, they are moved to a safer place, away from imminent danger. It could be natural disaster or man-made disaster. But whenever you come to American soil, you are treated like a human being, first, with respect. They will treat you with all your ailments. They will nurture you. They will welcome you. So after you gain strength, you face the law. So, but I can't think myself seeing a lot of them surviving a hurricane. No, the hurricane is going to kill you. So, or taking advantage of a hurricane to come to America, that's a dangerous thing to do. But those who manage to come are going to be treated like human beings.
Right, his question was that if they would take refuge here in the United States with the Patricia hurricane, that was your question, right? Did I understand that right? Huh? Oh, if that was a possibility. Okay, and then we answer what?
Well, if some of those who are able to take advantage of will not be sent back. No, they will be treated humanely. Mm-hmm. And when the natural disaster subsides, they will have the chance to go back. But if they want to naturalize, then they have to go through the system, the process.
But running their country because of a hurricane. I come from a hurricane country, Puerto Rico, and Ruiz Santo knows about that, right? That we just stay in our island and we take shelter in our homes, and we survive those Category 4 or 5 hurricanes. But we don't run to the United States or anything like that.
Because you can't.
No, we don't. And we have places where to hide. Okay.
I just want to quickly add a little bit. I don't think natural disaster like that, a hurricane alone, is a strong reason for a person to decide to immigrate to another country. If that person had a good livelihood in that place, well, hit by hurricane, I guess the first thing he would do after the disaster is to try to rebuild his life back in his hometown, in his home place. And in a minute, if the person is already suffering economically or politically in that place, the hurricane could be a trigger for him to finally make the decision to move. But that's not the driving factor.
Okay. I think we have covered immigration tonight, and I thank everybody for coming to our first discussion. Thank you to our panelists, Dr. Zhao, Rui Gonzalez, and Dr. Dewanka. Thank you very much.
Well, I wanted to thank the panelists, and I have some wonderful certificates for all of you.